Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey guys, it's Monday afternoon, early evening, Militiaman and Crew here. We're going to get started with some interesting news that's been coming out for the last couple of days. I hope everybody had a really good weekend. We with Militiaman and Crew, I think everybody had one. I think a lot of the news that we have, everybody's kind of excited because we're seeing exactly what this country's doing. They're actually doing what they say they're going to do, and they're working towards going international. So I think we can show a lot of evidence that supports that. Here, this particular article in our Patreon room. If you haven't been there, please check us out, because Patreon has a forum, and they also have a Discord chat room that is loaded with data by the Super Samson while I'm sleeping. So she's up at night doing news. I catch it the next day. And that's why we're able to do this kind of a round robin and have really relevant information and analysts, analyzations, because we have crew members that help with that. We have Pompey Peter, we have Petra, for instance. We got together the other day, did a wonderful audio. Everybody much appreciated it. So if you haven't seen that audio, check it out, scroll back up, and you'll find it in our forum and our Discord chat room. So enjoy. Hey, listen, it says the Iraqi banking sector enters a state of alert. So the new U.S. sanctions loom, so they're giving you a heads up. This was a day ago. It says on Saturday, or 2 days, it says on Saturday, economic researcher Omar Halbousi suggested that the U.S. Treasury would impose new sanctions on a group of private banks and individuals with illegal activities. Okay, so they're just giving you the heads up that certain things are happening. It says that there's certain procedures that need to be followed by the government and of the central bank, that there could be people that don't trust. So the quote is, it says the private banks will be affected by the U.S. Treasury sanctions, which closely monitor everything in Iraq and which still do not trust the procedures followed by the government and the central bank. So they move on to that. There's persons out there specialized in combating money laundering and terrorist financing within the United States Treasury. They focus on all their efforts in monitoring movements of funds and the work of private banks, which are still circumventing U.S. sanctions, which warns of the, quote, imminent imposition of new sanctions on a group of banks and individuals with illegal activities. So basically, what does that tell us? Looks like the gloves are going to be coming off, and I think you're going to find that they weren't kidding as time goes on. We're going to move a little further along. It says here the U.S. Treasury imposes sanctions on a new Iraqi bank and includes it on its list. It says that today, Monday, the U.S. Treasury Department announced the imposition of sanctions on Al-Huda Bank and its owner and others that are involved with this group, financing terrorism, money laundering for the benefit of neighboring countries and proxy groups, according to the Treasury. Paraphrasing, I'm not going to use anybody's names because that's just outside of my scope. But the Treasury said in a statement that today they're using powerful tools to protect the Iraqi and international financial system from the abuse of terrorist financiers, fraudsters, and money launderers. So this particular Al-Huda Bank has been a conduit for terrorist financing. FinCEN has moved in. The Treasury has findings of the data. I think these new electronic systems, you're going to note, we're going to talk about some people that are going to be involved in auditing, and we're talking about accounting. And these new financial systems, they can find out who nefarious people are. It looks like this particular bank has been pegged as one that has been a problem, and it has been a proxy, and it's been transferring funds that support illegitimate businesses, etc. And it's not doing anything good for the Iraqi people. It basically says Al-Huda Bank has been a subject to control and operation of the neighboring country and their forces and so forth. So they're basically curtailing that, and they're letting it. They're going to make it go away. And obviously they made it so that they did. It looks like, as far as I'm concerned, the OFAC was involved which is the Office of Foreign Assets Control. They designated this, not only this company, but the airline Fly Baghdad. That's another company that has some problems, and I guess they're just not going to be doing the business that they thought they were in the future because of what they've been doing. So it is what it is. Maybe they'll get that worked out. We'll see. Effectively, though, what are they doing? They're cleaning the house. The electronic banking tools that they have in place now are serious, and they're important, and Iraq's going to, looks like, to abide by them, and al-Sudani has that on his plate, and which is not a bad thing. So another thing was to add into that a senior U.S. Treasury official traveled to Iraq to counter this illicit finance. It says the Treasury's Undersecretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence, Brian Nelson, traveled to Iraq from Sunday to Monday. So maybe he's on his way home or he's home now, where he met with the senior Iraqi officials, including the Prime Minister Shia al-Sudani, as part of work on countering illicit financing. Okay, they go on from a little bit further. This is Nelson discussed with his counterparts protecting Iraqi and international financial systems. So they moved a little bit further on, and this is not just the Iraqi financial system. They're talking about protecting Iraqi and international financial systems from criminal and corrupt terrorist acts. And they go on to say that Washington would partner to protect Iraq's financial sector from abuse by neighboring countries or other malign actors. So they're basically looking at it like this, is that in the heart of it all, the Treasury's perspective is that transparency tools that the Central Bank of Iraq has put in place to identify illicit financial flows going through the Iraqi financial system. They basically are stating, we will continue to monitor Iraqi individuals, companies, and banks acting for and on behalf of U.S. designated terrorist groups. So that's what they're saying. Ultimately, what my view on it is, there's a major move to make sure that the systems in place are working, and they're apparently doing this, as we can see, just fine. This bank being some evidence of that being the case. They're also saying that what we're going to see here shortly is the 13 largest firms in the world with Iraq's accounting and auditing is a massive tell sign what is imminently coming. And we'll get into those 13, a bit about it. That the fact is that we have some really big issues happening, which should give everybody really significant, comfortable confidence. And I want to also put my hats off to JK for his real expertise, having worked in the accounting firms for some major corporations of the big four in the world in his lifetime. So we'll see how that plays out. But I like to say that I feel like I have a very comfortable confidence. If you guys remember, one of our videos recently was about restoring confidence. Iraq is talking about restoring confidence, and I think that what we see is that we should all have significant confidence that Iraq is going international. When they start talking about the private sector on a regular basis, that they're putting things in place. We're talking about different countries. The most recent in the last 24 to 48 hours is the Spanish country, Spain. We have Jordan. Right? They're talking about Jordan's talking about integration. Well, integration, Iraq is going to integrate, we believe, with the accession to the World Trade Organization. Jordan is using the word integration, doing business with Iraq. So when they use those same buzzwords that you'll find with the WTO, I think you should take that into consideration. Whether that's going to be the case or not, we're going to find out. But we could probably safely say that one of the larger trading partners, which is Jordan, talking about integration, Jordan is a member of the World Trade Organization. They have been since the year 2000. So little bits and pieces of the puzzle, but it's a big picture. Taking it all into consideration, because what we're seeing is that Iraq is going to a private sector. They have a tripartite budget, and they're working to that end, and there's no changing it. The Prime Minister says in this particular article, the structuring of government companies represents an important role in the essence of economic reform. So government, talking about structuring companies, essence of economic reforms. So it says Prime Minister Shia al-Sudani stressed on Sunday that structuring of government companies represents an important role in the essence of the economic reform. He goes on and says that he chaired the second meeting, so this is not the first one, which was devoted to following up on the process of structuring and organizing those companies, those government companies. I think that Ernst & Young and a few other companies were in the process of restructuring Rafidain Bank, Rashid Bank, and Iraqi Trade Bank, and maybe some of those are already completed, but we're going to see. I'm not going to be a subject of topic tonight, but I think everybody should know that we've all heard that they were going to restructure those banks. It says that Al-Sudani indicates that at the beginning of this meeting, the importance of this process. He goes on to say it represents an essence of economic reforms by subjecting companies to correct economic foundations and standards. So by subjecting these companies to correct economic foundations and standards, these 13 firms will play by the rules. If there's an issue, they're going to find it. If there's problems, they're going to find it. That's probably why you see some issues, why you haven't seen the money flow from the Kurdistan region. If you haven't seen the gas money flow, the oil and gas law, for instance, there's probably some reasons for them to keep all that information quite tight, especially now, because it's in their best interest to be able to not taint the waters, if you will. It goes on to say that according to the statement, that these steps lie at the heart of strategic goal of increasing the contribution of non-oil revenues and national outputs and incomes. Non-oil. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the Iskata system, which is going to be revenue streams through the borders. All of that stuff, we've been talking about this stuff for the last year. Ever since the MCOE got started, it's been on steroids. To be fair, it's really been positive. Have we seen this before? No. If you were here in 2013 or 2010, you didn't see this before. I was here 2010. I haven't seen this before. So the last 10 or 15, 20 years, the inroads that Iraq has made and accomplished based off this real data shows that now it's finally looks like they're going to make that move with what? A tripartite budget. So it comes out that the meeting came out with a set of decisions. So they've decided on things that included general principles of how to proceed with the financial and economic reform of companies and their structure in a way that strengthens the national economy and its stability. Okay, that's what we're looking at. So to me, strengthening the national economy, proceeding with economic reforms, what's going to help with that? A real effective exchange rate would help with that. 1310 is not a real effective exchange rate. I don't think the largest accounting firms in the world, there's 13 of them, would be dealing with this at this time, which they've never done before. We've never ever seen the Central Bank of Iraq they talked about the Big Four in the past, but they didn't talk about the Big Four and 13 total. They haven't done that yet, but they have now. They go on to say that in this particular case, remember, if we go back a little bit in time, which I like to do because it does give a foundation of where we are and where we are now and where we were before. And what does that say is that Samir al-Nasiri back in December 2023 is suggesting that the most prominent of which is the completion and implementation of projects for the transformation from a cash economy to a digital economy or a cashless society, and the development of national payment systems by establishing the National Payment System Company, which will undertake the development and operations of these systems. It says payments are under the supervision of the central bank, launching a financial inclusion strategy, working to adhere to international standards for the global financial system. So again, they're talking about not just the regional system, Iraq system, they're talking about a global financial system, international standards. Okay, so this is powerful stuff. And then what are they talking about? They're focusing on foreign trade financing. Okay, so what are they doing? They've been opening accounts, correspondent banks. They've been talking about controlling foreign transfers, opening dealings in foreign currencies, in addition to the US dollar, as well as drawing up a national lending plan to be approved. They talk about new mechanisms for organizing the granting of loans for the development of small and medium enterprises in accordance with the Prime Minister's RIADA initiative to employ young people. All of this stuff is coming back into the news. All of it's fresh again as in the last 24 to 48 hours. They're reiterating this stuff, creating a loan guarantee company, activating that deposit guarantee company. Man, it just gets better and better and better. But the bottom line was, what is this? It says this is what the government and the central bank are currently active in doing. It is, in fact, their words, a new reformist economic vision thought to harness all capabilities and energies in order to achieve it in the next stage. And so that's what they said that they were going to do. And then here today they say that here we have it right here, Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, they're talking today about the RIADA initiative to make that's electronic to ensure speed and completion, a speedy completion for loans, etc., right? It says al-Sudani directed Al-Rafadain and Rashid Banks to work on digitizing the loans for the RIADA initiatives for the youth and making them electronic in order to ensure more transparency and speed in completion. There you go. So we've talked about all this stuff, and here again, I went back in time from December 20th, and in here today, within the last few hours, we see them reiterating that they're moving on it. And I mentioned a little while ago about the port authorities, the ISCUTA system. This is just basically the Ports Authority Council approves the controls for transporting goods, the transit, to stimulate trade exchange. So it says the Board of the Port Authorities announced today, which is Monday, the approval of the controls for the transport of transit goods to the stimulation it provides for the movement of commercial exchange. Fairly sure that Iraq is going to go from commercial exchange, they're going to be doing business in the dinar. Okay? Granted, you're going to still be able to do trade in other currencies for imports and exports, but ultimately within the country of Iraq, commercial exchange is going to be in the dinar. It goes on to say that all members of the council to commit to implementing all decisions issued by the council and to follow up on their implementation, each according to its competence, with the need to send proposals for topics to be presented in upcoming sessions to correct and or complete all needs and procedures in a way that serves who? The public. So basically, what are they saying? Many things are related to the international trade, and they're talking about it just about everywhere. The need to have things in place now is looking to be their main focus. We can see that they're focusing in on the private sector. They're taking care of the citizens. Their country is about to open to the world. Based off this information, that's my view. Having the ports and borders ready for transit and goods, and with the safety of mechanisms in place, is very important for everyone. So they're going to have their money under control. They're going to have their banking in control. They're going to have the electronic systems in control, so that they can monitor this stuff. There's an article out today. I believe they said that somewhere in the neighborhood of about 30% of all money that flew through the borders was not taxed. That's massive amount of money, massive amount of money. I would suggest you guys get that article and read that one too. It says that the head of the investment authority confirms the head of the investment authority confirms that Iraqi government's commitment to strengthening the capabilities of the economic sector. Again, that's what are we talking about? They're discussing economic importance of the development road. How important is that economic road? It's going to be the lifeblood of Iraq. It's going to go from China to Iraq to Europe. It's progress. And you'll be amazed that we already read that where one of the places that's having major problems is going to be fixed and be rebuilt. It's a neighboring country. Conflict is ongoing right now, but they've already said that they've got it on the plate to be fixed, which is good. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be helped by all of this. The Iraqi people are going to be helped by this. The Jordanian people are going to be helped by this. Even the neighboring countries, others to the north, they're all going to be helped by it. So let's see how it goes. It says here the Iraqi government commitment to strengthening the capabilities of the economic sector through the portal of strategic investment projects in vital sectors and maximizing the state's financial resources to do so. Who was there? I told you there's other different countries. We talked about Jordan. We talked about Spain. What are they there for? They're talking about solar energy, railways. They're talking about many different things. Energy, electricity. Yeah, we're just going to figure this out. They're moving along. And here another one of these articles is launching the activities of who I just said, the Iraqi Jordanian Economic Forum. Integration. I mentioned that already. You got to look it up, see what integration is all about. Integration is going to be, I think there's going to be some WTO meetings, which was the Ministerial Council. And I think it's one of their highest levels for decision making that the WTO has. And they do that every 2 years. And that's coming up on the 26th of February to the 29th. Interestingly enough, we're going to find out that there's some communications about specific timeframes. But we'll see if this integration is something that happens prior to, because what they're talking about here, it says the Economic Integration Forum, which is held today between the public and private sectors in Iraq and Jordan, is a real opportunity to strengthen economic relations between the two countries, address obstacles to cooperation and integration, and achieve an increase in the volume of trade and economic exchange. This gentleman says that I call on the government agencies and the private sector in the two countries to make the most of this forum, which discusses aspects of integration, cooperation, and it may lay sound foundations for economic and commercial relations between the two countries. Basically, openness to the Iraqi economy, which is what this particular company, it's Ruha Arabiyat from 020 company. That was they did the organization for this particular forum. So basically, we can see that there's clearly a path to push the country to open up the region and to the world. That's basically what they're saying in a nutshell. This last article is interesting because basically it came out not a day or so ago, but the bottom line is it says that the Central Bank of Iraq decided to restore the mechanism for financing Iraq's foreign trade starting in next March. I would let everybody come into Patreon, get a copy of it, Google the Central Bank of Iraq decided to restore the mechanism for financing Iraq's foreign trade starting in March. There's some PDF files in that file on the CBI's website, cbi.iq. You have to have those translated, but what are they talking about? It says that the banks wishing to enhance their balance with correspondent banks in all currencies should appoint an external auditor for the purposes of reviewing transfers in advance of the process of sending transfers. Banks wishing to enhance the balance must provide us with information about the names of these companies to wish to contract with within a maximum period of February 29, 2024. He stresses that the requests to strengthen the dollar are for banks that hold correspondent accounts with an American bank exclusively, and they give you the price at $13.10. However, they go on to realize that they're talking about equivalency. So I would research this article when they talk about equivalency. They talk about currencies. They talk about the dates of when they have to have things done. And we all know that in this particular case, it says item number 2, in the case of reinforcement requests in the U.S. currency, requests from banks that hold correspondent accounts with an American bank are accepted exclusively. And for what? Entry for depositing the Iraqi dinar equivalent in reinforcement amount may be attached. So if they're going to have an equivalent amount, right, they're going to need to have, well, just like what currencies are they going to be using? I believe that they're going to be using the dinar, the Chinese yuan, the Indian rupee, the Turkish lira, the dirham, euro, US dollar. They're going to use them all. And so, read up on this. They have some links you can go to. You can see what the equivalent deposit transactions might be, and what their requests are. Basically, this article is about instructions, and at the end, I find it fascinating. Well, first off, let's just say that the first big four was PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte LLP, Ernst & Young LLP, KPMG LLP, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there's 13 different companies. And what do they say at the very end, which is I like the best? It says, please review and act accordingly. So the central bank is telling everybody their instructions, and they want them to please review what we've said and act accordingly. Why? Because they're going to have the 13 of the largest accounting firms in the world involved with Iraq, and they're there now, and most likely they have been, and it looks like there's going to be plenty of work for auditing in the future. You got oil and gas, you got the ICE systems, you have tourism. I mean, everything is going to be accounted for. And these big firms, they're very, very strict, and they play by the rules. And Iraq will probably have to play by those rules. And that's why you probably did see a bank that wasn't playing by the rules get shut down. And so here we are, you guys. Thanks for being here on a Monday. Enjoyed being with you. I think it's fascinating news. I hope you guys all will come in and visit us with Patreon in our forum. Our Discord chat room is everybody's welcome. There's a few rules when you come in, not a big deal. We have Gigi, Samson, we have Sunkist. They all help with it. We have Greg. He's a helper too. Does a little bit of IT. Thank you very much, Greg. And all the other crew members, you know who you are, and you're all with us. Pompey, Peter, and Petra did a wonderful, and with Militia Man, me, an audio yesterday. And so hopefully you guys will check on that. So if you like our content, hit the subscribe button, and we have those little options for helping keep the content going. With a small donation would be wonderful. We have Zelle, PayPal, and Venmo. So thank you very much, everybody, and enjoy your week. It's going to be exciting. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content. Subscribe to the channel or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much, and have a great day.